Boys and girls, welcome to the second installment of the Plowman Show. I decided to call it that because it's my name, that name again, it's Mr. Plowman. And frankly, everyone else's ideas were straight garbage. So, hey, at least you tried, and that's really all we ask of you. Try and then do better. So this is going to be the Plowman Show. It is a show. It's entertainment purposes. I wouldn't take anything I say here too seriously. I like to joke around, poke holes in things. But it's all just open and free discussion. And I do like talking about certain subjects, and I do learn things even if I'm, making fun of a situation. Now, I try not to just punch down, but sometimes, you gotta, get up. So, it's getting colder out in Nashville. Fall is coming. Leaves are turning and falling, and we realize that death is just right around the corner. And a lot of us have that seasonal depression. I don't, thankfully, but what if this is like a BetterHelp? Not yet. One of these days, maybe. But I think I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and I don't think it's really widely talked about, because I don't hear any of my friends talking about it really. It's the fact that when we're outside a good bit, especially in the summer when it's warmer, we're in the sun, so we get vitamin D naturally through the sun, like we have before. There were houses and
shark.
And so when it's cold out, we stay inside mostly, and therefore have a vitamin D deficiency. And we're not getting it any other way because, now all these alternative milks are trendy. And, I can't drink regular milk because it fucks me up pretty good. But, I'll have ice cream and cheese and stuff because, I actually like the taste of food. But I'm not going to just drink a cup of milk. So we're not getting vitamin D that way anymore like we used to before all these new milks started coming up. People just dealt with shark themselves. So maybe if you're feeling sad, depressed, and it's cold out, you think it's seasonal depression, just, go to Whole Foods or Turnip Truck or whatever, get some vitamin D supplements, and you can figure, most brands will give you the amount you should take. I don't really think you can OD on vitamin D. But you might not want to take too much. But yeah, just, maybe try doing that. See if it helps. I'm not going to promise anything because I don't know what I'm talking about, but might as well give it a shot if you're actually depressed and it's you call it seasonal depression. Just try, that's kind of what, cause I know, I get it. No one wants to hear, just go outside. Oh, you're depressed? Just go outside and exercise. And then, just work out. That'll cure your anxiety. It won't in most cases, but in some cases it could help. And that's kind of what they mean by that. But they're probably, those people that say that probably aren't meaning it in the nicest way or kindest way. But I would encourage you to start taking some supplements if you do struggle with depression during the colder months. Just see what helps. Worst case scenario, you have enough vitamin D in your body that you should, that will make you feel better. So there you go. You're welcome. Fun little piece of advice from old Charlie over here. So I've been working this job. I try not to name places or people in a lot of cases, just because I don't want to besmirch anybody or any place, and but I do like telling funny stories and crazy shit I deal with. So this company that the company itself works with a bunch of realtors in town, and then they pay the company who pays me to install for sale and like for lease or whatever signs, and then remove them when they have been sold. So like, you know, and it can be anywhere from like just anywhere like around downtown Nashville to Spring Hill, Columbia, you know, Murfreesboro. I've done Clarksville a bunch. So it's kind of like all over the place. And, you know, it's decent money. And it's like, I just driving around in my car, listen to podcasts all day, you know, listen to my own podcast to see how much I fucked up. But, and then, so it's like, it's a fun, you know, job to have. And it's relatively easy, but man, these realtors these days have, been just a pain in my ass.
Asparagus.
Yeah. There was one, a couple weeks ago. And like I was supposed to pick up a lockbox or something. I can't even remember the details because I tried. I mean, because the part coming up is so just wild and hilarious that I just forgot all about it. But I think it was like a lockbox or something, and it wasn't there. So you know, I'll usually call like my superior above me to be like, hey, like, do you know anything about this? Was there any notes or emails they sent you? And then they're like, no, you know, just call the realtor. So I call the realtor. No answer. Called again. No answer. So then I just, you know, I marked it as like there wasn't anything there, so I could still get paid for that stop. Because like, you know, because most of the time that there's a mistake, it's on the realtor's end or like their, you know, the person that they're selling to or whatever. They don't get the memo or whatever. So like they'll be like, yeah, the sign was, or the sign of the lockbox was like, we stored it under the porch out back, but like didn't say anything. So I have to go find it, you know, and I get paid by the stop, not by the hour. So I'm just like wasting time, you know, on stuff that could have been taken care of over a quick email from the from the realty company. So I, you know, called twice, no answer, and I kept going on my way because I had some other stops that day. And my superior gets an email saying like a few days later scheduling another pickup like for the same thing, and they were like, hey, like, you know, I hope I don't have to pay. Or I can't remember the way they worded it, but it's basically like, hey, like, let me know if you're gonna make me pay again, because like, you know, this is her excuse for not answering the phone. She goes, I don't answer the phone if I don't recognize the number. But you're a realtor. So like most people call realtors, the realtors usually don't have the number saved. So it's just like that's another story in the news right now, that this girl like was missing for a couple of days and like did not answer her phone from like search and rescue or something, which I don't know if like why did the parents call, like I don't know what, but like search and rescue or something, and she wouldn't answer the phone because she didn't recognize the number. So like people thought she was missing. But but the odd part of the story is like the parents didn't call, or like the friends didn't call, like unless she was like, you know, unless she was like, no, frog. Unless she was like mad at these people, maybe I could see her not answering the phone. But it was just such a funny story. It's like, yeah, I'm not missing. Like, oh, you tried calling? Yeah, I don't pick up for, you know, because spam calls have been such a huge thing, and like especially just randomly in the past few years on cell phones. But like, you know, it's always been like scam calls are always been a thing. Some people, you know, some people believe it. In fact, family friend of mine, her husband, hopefully she won't be listening to this, but her husband fell for one of those like Amazon gift card scams. Like some guy was like, yeah, like if you like get this many Amazon gift cards, then I'll send you like more money. It was like a simple scam that worked on an adult. He's like, I can't remember, he's like late 30s, early 40s, something like that. But I was like, dude, like who, like not even my 70-year-old parents would fall for that. They don't fall for it, like, because their parents like almost fell for shark. So they're like, you know, they know better. But yeah, it's it's so wild. I'm gonna have to cut that part out if she's listening. But maybe this part can just be for Patreon. How about that? She won't pay money to hear me talk. We're not that close. Anyway, yeah. So good. But so back to realtors and just my job. So there was another guy. Yeah, there's another guy that the address on file was like two something. I forget the number. And then there's the street that it was supposed to be on, because I have like a Google Maps route that like show like it takes me to the exact location that they say. And then so I just go to all the stops. But so I was like at the location, but it was like seven something. I was like, what? So I drove up and down. It's all 700s. There's no two, whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I call my superior. She's like, hey, I'm actually out of town. I can't help. So I called the boss man. He didn't answer. He just had a kid, so I get it. And I called the realtor twice, and no answer. So, and like I didn't really want to send a text, although I should have in hindsight, because like if you're not gonna answer a phone, you're probably not gonna answer a text, and I just don't want to be sitting here wasting time where I could be finishing the rest of my work, for these mistakes that these people keep making. Because they'll let anyone with a couple grand become a realtor. Just dummies out here slinging houses. Should be slinging, pancakes at
Fungus.
IHOP. Barely high school graduated. But anyway, so yeah, check on twice, nothing. I kind of like sat there for a second. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna put in the address for the next place, and then mark this one as, hey, the address couldn't be found because it doesn't exist or whatever, and went on my way. So I was almost my next stop, like almost 20 minutes, and I see a phone number call. I'm like, it's got to be him. So like swipe up, because I was like almost to the next place. So like, and then he tries calling again. I was like, I don't want to talk to this guy right now. He's like, he missed his opportunity. And then like a minute later, I finally get to the house. I was like, by this point, 20 minutes. Like, they were 20 minutes apart, both in Columbia. And the realtor called my superior, and he was like, hey, like the address is actually this. It needs to be up by tomorrow because it goes live tomorrow. I was like, maybe you should have double checked the house number if it was that important. And, and his I mean, I'm not going to even say to his defense, because it's not really defense. He was like, well, I got a new assistant, and I'm like, well, fire her, because she obviously doesn't know. Like she's dyslexic, because it was like seven. It was like the numbers were interchangeable, so it was like, seven blah blah blah, and then two blah blah, but like they just got swapped, whatever. So I mean, I guess it happens, but like, God, if you're that new, one strike right away is not something you want to get into. But so he was like, hey, like, and so she was like, it needs to get done. And I was like, well, I'm 20 minutes away, and she's like, yeah, it's not a good situation for anybody. I'm like, yeah, especially me. I'm the one driving and doing all the stuff, and I was already kind of pissed because of the other little part-time job I was working. I'm going to work for a ramen shop this weekend. I'm so excited about starting there, because I can, not to do these weird odd jobs. But so anyway, so I was already kind of mad, and then she was like, yeah, you got to go back and do it. So I got to waste 40 minutes of my time. And then the guy had also texted me. I didn't see it yet, and he was like, hey, call me immediately. And I was like, because he had already talked to my superior, I was like, hey, the sign's being taken care of. Please make sure that you double check the house number before submitting, because I don't get compensated for mistakes like this. And he was like, thank you. You do have a lockbox for that one, right? So I was like, yep. It's YEP. No, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna like that, he said. And yeah, so that guy is on my hate list, but I'll probably never meet him. That's fine. I'd rather not. So yeah, that's been fun. And back to my other part-time job. I actually this is a great story. I walked out of work. Like I did a walkout. I've always kind of wanted to do it. And this is the perfect one, because this was like, I was like kind of doing general contract work for this guy who he owns this like co-working space thing. And like, there's a lot of like renovations that need to get done with different things. And so I was like just doing some odd jobs around there, making some decent money. And one of the things I did, and this was also like, so like the timeline of this goes, I worked the post job that morning. It was just a long day, and I was trying to get done in time to come work the other one. So I did that in the morning, did this job, like the second job, in the afternoon, and because of what happened there, then the next day I was also pissed when all that happened with the house number.
Shark.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just kind of making sure you guys are with me. So I was like replacing some ceiling tiles down in like the basement area. Like, it's not really a basement, but it's kind of a basement. It's huge, massive. They're basically redoing it into like a event hall, like for like, weddings and whatever parties. And so like there's a kitchen that like needed a bunch of ceiling, not a bunch, but like maybe a dozen ceiling tiles replaced. And I was wearing a mask because I knew there would be some stuff floating around. I didn't want to breathe any of it in. And so I had my mask on. I was, starting to push up the ceiling tile and was having some problem with it. And I actually had my my buddy who my roommate actually, who I'll probably have on pretty soon. He was like my superior for that job, and he was helping me get it down, and then like rat poop was kind of falling everywhere, and I was like, oh great, don't want to deal with that. But I went up, and like now that like one tile is missing, I looked around and see if there's any other like rat poop or anything weird. I saw like a few piles of poop, but I don't know if it was actually poop or if it was something else. But it wasn't on the tiles I was having to replace. I was only replacing some that were damaged or whatever. So I was like, whatever, like I'll at least do a few more. So I'm like doing more, and then poop, like stuff's getting into my eyes now. And man, I'm wearing my glasses, but I'm not like, I would like to have safety goggles, for this kind of stuff. And so, I asked my roommate, I was like, hey, like, do you have any safety goggles? He's like, no. And then I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go blind, and he's like, you don't need your eyes. I was like, whatever. We both made dumb hanky jokes. So I kept doing it, and then it got worse. It was like more stuff was getting into my eyes. It was like a problem. Like, it wasn't like burning, but it was like stinging a little bit, and just like, and like it was really hard to like wipe it off because like, my hands are covered in this stuff, and my shirt is like all sweaty, and like all the dust and all the debris is like sticking to it. So it's just like, it's not a great situation for like when shit's in your eye, and then sweat goes into my eye too. It's just like, it's a nightmare. So I go back and I was like, hey, like, do you think there's like, oh, I find like my roommate's talking with his boss, like the owner guy, and he hasn't worked there anymore, so we can talk poop a little bit. I'm still not gonna name names though, really, except for my roommate who you will meet. Anyway, moving on. So I go up to the boss man. And I was like, hey, do you know where any like safety goggles are? And he's like, no. I was like, well, I can't. And I told both of them, I was like, I can't keep doing this without them. Like, shit keeps getting in my eye. And then my roommate was like, close your eyes, ha ha ha, And then the boss man was like, he was like, well, sounds like you need to figure that out, huh? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I guess I could like go buy some, And he's like, yeah, if there's nothing in the, closet up there, like, yeah, I guess. I was like, cool. And then they were like making some more jokes and laughing, and I was like, I told them, I was like, don't test me, guys. I'm like, I'm this close to walking out. And then as I'm walking out to go find goggles, one of them I can't even remember which one said it, but they're like, looks like you're already walking out. So I just left and never came back. It's funny because as I was on my way home, my roommate tried calling me because he realized oh, I think Charlie actually left. And then I didn't answer. And then that evening, he came home with his dad's dog, the dog his dad owns. And whenever dad is out of town, we get the dog. And then the dog goes with my roommate to work. So they came back, and then, my roommate's girlfriend was there as well. So we were just talking like nothing ever happened. Cause I was, by that point I wasn't mad anymore. I was mad for a minute. I was like, "Poop these guys," and I left. And it was a great feeling, cause I wasn't gonna be, I wasn't gonna be working with them for much longer, maybe a couple more days, if that. And really, I didn't have that much time because I was so busy with the post job I was doing. Cause that was my thing. Whenever I wasn't doing as much post job, I would go in and do that. Anyway, and so I still didn't mention it to him about walking out, and then we just acted like nothing happened. He didn't mention it, and finally, it was yesterday evening. He was like, I don't, maybe it's 2 days ago. He was like, I don't work at blah 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 anymore. I was like, yeah, neither do I. And then he started laughing. He's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Yeah." When are we ever gonna talk about this? So we talked about it and laughed about it, because he was like, he told the boss man, he's like, "Yeah, I think he was really pissed." And you're like, "Really?" I don't know. So yeah, I just stopped talking to him, and I might have to hit him up too, because I have to cancel a pop up that I had scheduled for this weekend, but I got scheduled at the ramen place instead, which I'll go into that, and I'll name them later if I feel like I should. But for now, I'm just kind of keeping everything as safe as possible to some extent. I'm still going to talk poop, but not, maliciously, because I'm not an asparagus. So. Man, just as it was getting juicy, if only you paid $5 a month for the Patreon episode. That's right, folks. If you go to www.patreon.com/The Plowman Show, you can get 100% unedited, unfiltered content. The Wild, Wild West Plowman Show. Come on, support the podcast. That way I can afford to get more mics and get some guests on and have some people that are way more interesting than me just come on and talk. So go support, like, comment, subscribe.